they're angry about? At the world. At the world. And they're doing well, you would think, you know, but angry at the world. I don't know. And for what reason? Tom Brokaw will be on tomorrow. On Wednesday, our friend Doris Kearns-Goodman will be on. Right. Andy Rooney appears on the CBS News Magazine program 60 Minutes. Writes a nationally syndicated newspaper column in over 150 papers around the country. He has written numerous best-selling books. Sincerely, Andy Rooney is his latest and has just been released by the book publisher Public Affairs. In fact, the official publication date is tomorrow, December 7th, and here he is now. Good morning, Mr. Rooney.
Morning, Don.
How are you?
Good.
Why did you decide to do this book?
I don't know. I'm a compulsive writer, and once you've written something, you know, writers like to save their stuff and keep it, then you might as well have somebody read it, so it was published.
And you saved everything now.
Well, you know, once you start writing on a computer, you're trapped. Everything just goes in that great storehouse in the box. And before that, I had people who worked with me who kept letters that people sent me and clipped them to answers I gave. So, yeah, I had everybody accuses me of that as if it was something bad that I kept my letters.
You know, I found out that even though you put something in the trash, it's still, I guess there's a way to get it off of your hard drive, but...
Well, what is that? All of a sudden it comes up and...
Well, I've written some letters that, like you have one section in your book of letters written but not sent. I have a lot of those.
Yeah.
You know, this will reveal my lack of a formal education, but I'm kidding.
You reveal that quite often. You know, as a matter of fact, you were in the book at one point, and somebody must have taken it out. I had some complaint about usage, something you frequently misuse.
Well, it could be anything.
Well, you know what it was? You don't want to know.
Yeah, I do.
It was the word comprise. You say... you know, the whole comprises the part. You do not say something is comprised of.
I say that all the time.
Yes, I know it. Don't say it anymore.
I won't. Believe me. That ends now. Well, Charles and I, there are words every day that come up that Charles and I both... Sure. For example, why did you use the word, I guess this is the way you pronounce it, striated in describing this collection of letters as a striated autobiography?
Well, I did not want to suggest that this was a comprehensive look at my whole life, and it is strains of my life. I think of striated as being strains like coal mine. Having striated areas where there's coal, and then there's dirt, and then there's other stuff.
Well, you can't. Charles and I had a phone conversation about this. Mm-hmm. I called him because whenever I want to know something, I call him. And that's just what we thought. That's what you thought. Well, I said the word, I said I didn't understand why he would use that word, and Charles said it did not bother him. So. No. It doesn't bother him, it doesn't bother me.
Is it okay? I had planned not to have anything funny to say when I started.
That's fine.
I'm a sort of an experienced listener of Imus, and I never like it when somebody comes on and they have 2 or 3 jokes they plan to have.
It is tedious, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So I deliberately decided not to have anything.
You already got a laugh. Unintentionally, obviously. Why did you include letters only that you had written?
Well, you don't own the material that somebody sends you. If somebody writes you a letter, you own the paper it comes on, but you do not own the material that they put on it.
Oh, I see.
In other words, you cannot, I could have gotten permission from everybody, but that would be a long job. I guess Brokaw has done that. I don't know why she's got a new book out.
Yeah.
And you can get, I suppose you could get written permission, but it seemed like a long way around. A lot of the people I have in my letters are no longer with us.
I would have liked to have read the letter that Peggy Noonan wrote you. Were you annoyed with her? Are you annoyed with her?
Well, I think Peggy both ingratiates herself and annoys almost everybody she knows.
Well, what has she specifically done to you that prompted that letter? I didn't, because it didn't make any sense to me. It made some sense, but not a lot.
Well, I'm trying to remember the letter. I don't know what she said, but I remember she wrote me a letter when she was working for Nixon. And Reagan, when she was writing for Reagan. And I remember what she said. It was a very interesting observation. She said he never thanks anybody for anything they do. It's you do it, and he takes it and accepts it. But he never thanks anybody for anything. It was interesting. I mean, you hear so many observations about Reagan, but I had never heard that one.
Well, what you wrote was, Dear Peggy, it was good to hear from you. I was going to write and tell you I met your brother at a urinal at the track in Saratoga. He was fine.
Isn't that just the one Imus would pick out to read on the air?
Apology only has one G. Did she misspell apology?
Yes, she
Oh,
did.
God, man, I love that. Don't you love that? I can't stand it.
I do love it.
Oh, man.
I'm not a great grammarian, but
oh, yeah.
I have behind me lots of books on usage, and it's a hobby of mine.
What we love, the New York Times, as you know, has this manual. We reissued this manual of style and usage, and we actually had some listeners volunteer to try to commit it to memory and then read the paper every day and look for errors. And we said to start with the editorial page. The guy pointed out that Hal Raines, an editorial page, it was like shooting fish in a pan.
No, I love that. I heard all that stuff. You know what they do with my column, and I just hate it. I stick it to them every time. When I call someone the President of the United States, I capitalize P. If he's the President of CBS or something else, I do not. But I think when you say the President, it belongs uppercase P. And they take it down every time. And the Times Style book has it down. Now, I think that is wrong.
I think the Style Italian book used to have it on, didn't it, Charles? I can't remember,
Well, many years ago, yes.
Yeah. Well, they're all interesting. A lot of them left me wondering how various things worked out. For example, did you ever resolve the tax situation regarding living in Connecticut and essentially working in New York?
You know, that is still an issue. I am still fighting it. I mean, I paying taxes in 2 states. I mean, I tried to vote in 2 states. You know, try that. You can't be taxed without being able to vote, and I'm being taxed in 2 states and can only vote in 1.
I thought the rule was that if you spent over 180 nights in, for example, Connecticut.
That's true.
But
yeah, that's true.
It doesn't apply to you?
No, if you spend 180 nights or days in New York City, then they consider you a resident. And I'm right on the border there.
Oh, I see.
I was interested in your $5,000 somebody pressed on you.
Yeah.
I had a cab driver named Patrick Coyne, C-O-I-N-E, in New York, and he would never take a nickel from me. And he left town, wrote me and said I had to leave the taxi business. I was in Times Square one night, and there was only one other car in all of Times Square, and I hit it. And then I knew it was time for me to quit driving a cab. And so he went down to Mississippi. I got a letter from a doctor, said he was dying of cancer. So I sent him $500, and I said, Patrick, all I'm saying is this is in part payment for all the times you wouldn't let me pay for my cab ride. All I can say is don't use it for anything you need. Use it for something that would interest you. He got all the kids in town at the library and spent the $500 I sent him on ice cream.
Good grief. Well, we're trying to figure out how to spend $5,000.
Yeah, that's hard. That's a lot of double-deckers.
We're talking with Andy Rooney. His new book, Sincerely Andy Rooney, is published by Public Affairs. This was a new publisher? Or?
It's a man named Peter Osnos. He was at one time Moscow correspondent for the Washington Post, and then he worked for Random House, and now he has his own name.
You said for many years that you told people that you did not sign the non-communist oath at CBS. When did you discover that you had? When you were doing this book?
Yes, when I did the book. Actually, I did still demand that they give me an affidavit that you had to swear that you were not, never had been a member of the Communist Party and had never worked for anyone who was. So I demanded an affidavit from them saying that Frank Stanton and William S. Paley were not now and never had been communists before I could say I had never worked for one.
Did you ever get that?
No, I never got that.
Why exactly isn't the Ed Sullivan Theater the Arthur Godfrey Theater?
Well, for some reason, Godfrey is the forgotten man of television. He made more money for CBS than anybody who ever lived. He had the #1 or #3 show. He had 2 television shows, one Monday night and one Wednesday night, and they just dominated the ratings, always higher than Ed Sullivan. And he was only on the air with them for about 10 years, and Sullivan was on for 21. All Sullivan had was longevity. And after all, Godfrey did something Sullivan was essentially a pointer.
Was it Arthur Godfrey who, wasn't Charles and I were talking about this, he fired somebody on the air?
Julius LaRosa. You know something else he did, Don? I mean, in 1949, I came to work for him in 49. In 1950, CBS wanted to make a television show out of the Arthur Godfrey radio show. He had been on radio for many years. He said, fine, just bring the cameras down here and shoot my radio show. I'm not going to give you any concessions. Just come down and shoot the show. Shot the radio show for 2 years, and that was the television show. Does that sound familiar?
A little bit, yeah. Has anybody given Mike Wallace a copy of this book?
I don't know whether Mike has looked at it or not.
You get along with him, or what's the deal?
I like Mike a lot. He's good fun to be with.
Have you seen The Insider?
Yes, I've seen The Insider.
And?
Well, I don't know what Mike is mad about. I mean, Christopher Plummer, who plays Mike, is a lot better looking than Mike is. And not only that, the way they have him made up, he looks more like Mike looks. I mean, he looks more like Mike than Mike looks like himself. I'm just sorry that I'm not in it. I mean, I was one of the bad guys. How come I didn't get a part?
Did you think it was a fair representation of the role that you had played? And...
Yeah, I thought of all the people who got the bad deal in the movie, Don Hewitt came off worse because, after all, he was in a tough spot. The people who owned the network says you can't run this piece. What's he going to do? Come over and commandeer the control room and put it on?
Yeah, I often point that out to people that, you know, there is somebody signing the check.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to do stuff like it yourself or get your own network.
I don't know. Everybody ought to quit once in a while, but there are a limited number of times you can quit over an issue like this. And I think the producer had a point being annoyed, and I had some stuff that I wrote a piece that was not aired because I complained specifically about Larry Tisch and his connection with the tobacco industry. And it was not aired either, and I should have quit. But I already quit once years ago, and that was about my allotment for quitting.
You seem like he was an awful guy, Larry Tisch.
What do you want me to do, agree with you? Or,
yeah.
Say,
I don't know. No, I don't know. No, I don't. Actually, you're one of the few people we don't want to have you say something that's awful, you know.
Why?
I don't know.
Now, listen, this is dangerous ground you're on, because the immediate comparison comes up between Tisch and your friend and boss.
Well, Carmazin.
Yeah.
Oh, I love him.
Well, why?
Because he's very loyal.
He's loyal, but and he has a lot more charm than Tisch did. But his dedication to money, Don, is just obsessive.
Yeah.
I don't think he watches. I don't imagine he watches or listens to your show and doesn't care what you do or say.
And that is bad because 25 to the hour here, the Average Morning program. In the story that ran in the Advocate back in 1989, that I guess subsequently resulted in the president of CBS at the time, CBS News, David Burke, suspending you for 3 months without pay. Did you ever find out why that reporter wrote that you had said blacks have watered down their genes when you clearly had not said that, and he, of course, could not prove that you had said that?
No, it just is not a phrase that sounds like I would have said. Does it to you or to anyone else?
No.
I had said, and this is a dangerous thing I have said, and had nothing to do with blacks, is that it seems to me that the least fit among us are having the most children. In other words, people who don't get to high school are having the most children. People who get to high school and drop out are having the next most. And as you go up, you get to college graduates, and then to people who get their master's degree are having the fewest children of all. And to some extent, at least, you can equate education with intelligence. And I just thought that this could ultimately lead to the diminution of the species. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a fascist thought, but I've had it.
Well, the initial complaint, as I remember, was that you had written for a CBS News year-ending documentary. There was some recognition in 1989, this was in 1989 year-end, there was some recognition in 1989 of the fact that many of the ills that kill us are self-inflicted: too much alcohol, too much food, drugs, homosexual unions, and cigarettes were all known to.
Yes, that is, you put your finger on a paragraph that caused me all the trouble. And what the homosexual community said I should have said was unsafe sex, not homosexual unions, and I should have said that. But that was it. I said that the whole community was having to pay for too many of the ills we suffer that are self-induced.
And then it was after that that reporter...
he called me, yes.
He called you and then apparently made up this phrase that you had... Well, obviously did. Well, the suspension didn't last as long as it was supposed to, did it?
I think it was 3 weeks, something like that.
It was supposed to be 3 months, and then there were so many people outraged by all of it.
Also, the ratings went down.
I do remember that, yeah.
I may have lucked out on that. I don't know.
We're talking with Andy Rooney from 60 Minutes. Well, who advised you not to reprint the letter that you wrote the Advocate after they had published the story? It was a great letter. I mean, why did they advise you not to?
Almost everybody.
Really?
My family and my friends and everybody. Well, I'm glad you said that because I looked it over and I said, I don't know. This is what I believe.
Well, that's a great letter. That's a great letter. Have you read it, Charles? No. Well, that's a great letter. Have you seen the movie Saving Private Ryan?
Yes, I have.
And?
Don, I saw some ad for a new movie coming out saying as good as Saving Private Ryan can't possibly be. I saw World War II like very few people still alive, and I didn't think I could ever be taken by a movie about it. I wept in Saving Private Ryan. It is almost a great picture. It is a great picture.
Did you read Brokaw's book, The Greatest Generation?
I read the chapter about me. That's typical, isn't it?
Of course. All you read of it?
No, I read some of the others. He had a good idea, and
he didn't know. I asked him, and he's a fairly self-effacing guy.
He's a good guy. Really,
he is a good guy. He said he had no idea it was going to resonate as it has.
No, I don't think he did. He just touched a nerve. I mean, it was amazing that it was such a popular idea. He's wrong, of course, absolutely wrong, but it was a good idea.
What do you mean wrong?
Well, there was nothing special about my generation. I mean, we won World War II because we were fighting World War II, but if we had World War II now, young people would be fighting it. They would be different themselves, that's all. I mean, I don't think human nature has changed much since the Romans were feeding Christians to the lions. I just don't think there's much difference in humankind. We have changed. We got a lot of good toys now, but I don't think the human brain has changed much.
I think the reason we tend to think that's not the case is because of Vietnam, don't you? I mean, because so many people were against Vietnam, and it wasn't the same. Obviously, it wasn't the same.
It wasn't the same.
No, of course not.
And you know what happened? When I was in college, I was 19 or 20, and I was opposed to going into World War II. And I think there were a great many people my age who were against it. And it turned out, when we got there and found out what the hell the Germans were doing, we were embarrassed ever to have opposed our entry into the war. And we got into World War II too late. And as a result, we got into Vietnam too early, because the people in charge at that time were like myself, had opposed entry into World War II, and they were embarrassed about that. So we got into Vietnam too soon.
The reason we have fond memories of General George S. Patton because of George C. Scott, or?
Oh, he was such a boob. I mean, he was a bad general. He got too many American soldiers killed for his own glory. He was a bad general. I knew Patton. I love it. I mean, I love that thing you do. Yeah, that is. I break up every time I hear it because it catches him.
I guess we're doing George C. Scott, aren't we, Charles?
Yeah.
I did. So yeah. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's pretty close to Patton. He was just, he came close to forbidding the Stars and Stripes, the Army newspaper, for which I wrote, being distributed to the Third Army, because we often did things that he didn't like, and he was on the verge of forbidding us distributing it from the Third Army, and Eisenhower said, George, go home, go to bed. We're going to have this paper in your army.
It's 18 till the hour here in the Imus Morning program. We're talking with Andy Rooney, whose new book, Sincerely Andy Rooney, is a collection of his letters. Almost every one of them prompts you. You'll find yourself wanting to call him and talk to him, but you're not going to be able to because you don't have a radio program and you can't sell books for him.
There's something to make almost everybody mad in there.
In this letter you wrote your children about religion and what you do and do not believe, you describe yourself, correct me if you will, of course, essentially as an agnostic. Now, it was written in 1989, and it's probably a dumb question, but I guess you still feel the same?
Yes, I still feel the same, only more so.
Why?
Why am I an agnostic?
No.
Because I am skeptical of the whole invention of religion, a God, to explain the nature of the universe. I mean, we don't know what has happened. We have this huge puzzle on our hands, the puzzle of life. We do not know what life is all about. We don't know how it was created, where it came from. And we have invented this answer. I don't pretend to know, but we should not stop trying to find out by saying it's the work of God. I mean, then from whence God?
In the version of the Bible that I have back in my office that I, of course, can't find, so often I read it, the introduction to the New Testament, the Gospels, the Word of God, Jesus, all of that has to be, I mean, it's almost a tenet of the whole idea, is to have fundamentally accepted on faith. Well, why does, I mean, and you even write that, you know, like Wall Street types and people who are very analytical types, well, like Mill, for example, and other people who demand a rational answer for everything, don't have any answer for their faith, but accept it.
No rational explanation for why they believe, no.
But what's wrong with just, I mean, there are a number of other things we accept on faith. What is?
Well, like what?
Well, I mean, I was faithful that you were not going to use the F word, for example, on the program this morning. Or that there's air to breathe, or those may not be good examples, but
examples are tough. I hate to be asked for examples.
No, I'm sorry you asked me too. I
knew you would be. That's why I asked.
But I walked right into it, and I knew I was going to do it. In fact, I even told Charles. I said, they'll make a fool of me, but then you won't be the first, will he? Not at all. But faith just doesn't work. Well, it doesn't. Well, you made that plain. It doesn't work for you.
No, I with what little I do not have great intellect, but I think we should all use whatever we have to solve whatever problems we can that we're faced with.
What was the reaction, if I may ask you, of your children to that letter?
Almost none, because they already knew there were no surprises in it for them. I mean, they didn't write me and say, "Oh, Dad, don't say that" or anything. They all knew what I thought. They just we didn't talk about it.
And finally, what is the mystery surrounding Harry Reasoner's death? What is it that his family?
Well, it was not clear exactly how he died. He fell down some stairs in his home in Westport. It's a very sad thing. It's of all the things you're asking me about, it's the thing I least like to talk about. He was a dear friend and maybe the most brilliant correspondent television ever had. He just had great brains.
How do you feel about CBS now today, as you did? Well, you left for a while.
Well, I left. You know, it's interesting about, I don't know why he said this, I guess, but I'm very loyal to CBS because I have been here so long. But loyalty is a thing all unto itself. It's good to have, even though what you're loyal to doesn't deserve it. And I am loyal to CBS, even though it is no longer what I started out being loyal to. I like news a lot. I just am one of those people who believe that if everybody knew all the truth about everything, it would be a better world. And that's what news ought to try to do, but it no longer is doing that. Television news is now just another commodity, and it's a shame, but I am still loyal to CBS, and I like to see it prosper.
Good luck with this book. I mean, you don't need that, but...
Well, I guess I do need
it. It's a fascinating collection of letters. I didn't read every single one of them, but I read most of them.
Can I say something nice about you, too? Does that be all right?
No.
You know what I like best about your show is the way you use the network correspondents. You get more out of those people than the networks get out of them themselves. I think to myself, I should think they'd object to Imus getting so much stuff out of them that they don't use themselves. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Happy holidays and all that stuff.
Merry Christmas. I'm not Jewish.
God bless you, Andy.
Sports Talk 980, first with scores and breaking sports news.
Beltway bragging rights once again belong to GW as the Colonials upset Maryland 74-69 last night to win the BB&T championship over the Terps for the second time in 3 years. Valiant Brown led GW with a game-high 27. The Redskins once again failed to beat another above 500 team, falling to the Lions in Detroit 33-17. The Skins committed 14 penalties in the loss. The good news is the Cowboys lost in New England last night 13-6, so the Skins still lead the NFC East over the Cowboys by one game, along with the Giants and the Cardinals, who come to town next week. And the court battle over whether ESPN broke its deal with Major League Baseball to show NFL games begins in New York today. The trial is to determine if ESPN violated its contract with MLB when it bumped 3 September games to ESPN2 to show the NFL. I'm Jerry Coleman on Sports Talk 980. Your next update less than 20 minutes away.
Sports Talk 980.
If you're not sure what to get the man on your list for Christmas, you'll find we're full of good ideas at the Men's Warehouse.
Mr. Zimmer, my name is Rainey Catalano, and I just wanted to personally call you and let you know that I had a particular salesperson, Stephen Nagy, and he was possibly one of the nicest, most polished individuals I've ever had the pleasure of dealing with. I went in for my significant other, and I ended up leaving with a sports jacket, slacks, sweaters, shirts, ties, socks. I have no idea how you train your people to be so good, but certainly you should write a book.
From gloves and belts to sweaters, shoe crease to sportswear, you'll find lots of great gift ideas at the Men's Warehouse for under $50, as well as the type of personal service that's hard to come by this time of year.
You're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it. I'm George Zimmer, founder of the Men's Warehouse.
Visit the Men's Warehouse for the holidays. 12 Washington, D.C. area stores. To reach the store nearest you, call 1-800-776-SUIT.
A small town, a group of carolers. The holiday spirit was in the air. Unfortunately, so was cellular. I've seen this before. Trying to save money on long distance by talking fast on cell phones. It can get to you. Excuse me. You don't have to live like this. Here, try Sprint PCS. With the Sprint PCS free and clear plan, including free long distance, you'll get calls for as little as a dime anytime.
What about the calls? Are they clear? Are they clear? Are they clear? What's the call about clear?
Sprint PCS built the only all-digital, all-PCS nationwide network from the ground up, serving more than 280 major metropolitan areas, so all your calls will be clear. So what do you think?
Joy to the West. Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular.
Stop by your local Sprint Communications store, Radio Shack, or Ritz Canline. For a limited time, save $100 on the purchase of any 2 Sprint PCS phones. Also ask about the Sprint PCS free and clear plan that gives you 500 minutes for just $50 a month, including free long distance. See printed materials and stores for details.
My son is a zombie. He's gotten pale, sits on the floor in the same position. He never blinks. When he's playing video games.
Need help? Here's GamesToLearn.com, your fast, easy online source for fun games and toys that teach and inspire. Games to Learn gives you so many great options, like the Geo Safari Talking Globe.
Let's play a game about continents.
Cool. It talks and so does my son.
Visit GamesToLearn.com.
GetPoints.com, GetPoints.com, GetPoints.com. Want a good idea for all those people you need to send gifts to this year? Go to GetPoint.com. It's the place to buy gift certificates from thousands of America's most popular stores, restaurants, and salons. Imagine the time you'll save sending actual store gift certificates without leaving your home or office. Kind of makes you want to sing, huh? Go to GetPoint.com today. You could be one of 1,000 instant gift certificate winners.
Green had a good observation about Andy Rooney. And that is, there are few people who you can ask a question of and be assured that you're going to get a straight answer.
Every time.
Every time.
Brutal honesty.
Yeah. I mean, brutal. Absolutely. Well, he and I differ about the Zen Master. I mean, obviously he likes the Zen Master, but I guess. But I mean, it is a business. We have to pay these salaries. We have to pay the rent.
We're there to make money.
Well, that's the deal. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, we like doing it, and it's fun and all that.
It ain't Amazon.com.
But it's why they didn't run that cigarette thing. That's why Hugh didn't run that cigarette thing. I mean, it's, you know, we're trying to get the stock to 100. I mean, that's what we're trying to do. I mean, that's the case closed.
We got a shot at it.
He doesn't, how old is he? 70-something?
Yeah.
He doesn't sound 70-something, doesn't he?
Very sharp. Has lost nothing, apparently.
I really like him.
I do. A little uncomfortable when he's complimenting the Iman, though.
Yeah,
that
does good on
Don't you hate when people suck up to Iman? I do.
Well, I don't think he was doing that, but I mean, he was. Well, now you don't get the feeling that he's. I don't know. I mean, I really look forward to having him on.
Yeah.
I was really. Well, most of these people I just put them on because they, I don't know, they have somebody on. Well, Brooke will be on tomorrow. I like having him on. So, I mean, that's. Doris will be on Wednesday. I like having her on. So.
Will they give you 100% honest answers, like Andy? Not 100%. No.
No. Brokaws pretty good.
Yeah, he's
a little. He's a little.
Right. For the Nick attendance.
Yeah, I mean, no, there's some things about Brokaw that are not good.
Yeah, no, that's.
No, there's some things about him that are not good.
Like what?
No, that whole Nick thing.
That is terrible.
But he was honest about when I asked him about. I mean, most people who had written that book would have said, "Well, I've tapped into it. I sent it," and he said, "No, it's not." So he's an honest guy. Well, he's not a phony, but he's he's a little, you know.
Well, what?
Well, I mean, I think he's a little politically correct sometimes.
Got a little showbiz in him.
Let's see.
Well, can't all be Andy Rooney, you know.
No.
Two other people who always give you honest answers, Bernie and Lou. That's it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that was a great interview, boss. You look good. Bernie, Lou, and Andy Rooney.
They are just the two.
I love that jacket. Total candor.
They are the two worst slugs on the planet.
How good is that salsa, huh?
You didn't catch those checks yet, did you?
Oh, no.
Yeah, Mike's another honest guy in that.
Yeah, listen to Mike.
Yeah.
I love the Dixie Chicks.
Yeah, I'm getting to hate him. And one more interview with AP, and we'll never play him again.
I love that.
I mean, these three bimbos got to shut up.
The Dixie Sluts.
Jesus, God Almighty, the Dixie Porker and the Dixie Sluts.
I wanted to be on Hollywood Squares.
Good God, please shut. Go back in the studio and make another album and be quiet.
Sing, don't talk.
We're family feud.
Mike.
And Amy Grant. Huh. God, what a pig.
Well, what happened?
Oh, good. Green had a good observation about Andy Rooney. And that is, there are few people who you can ask a question of and be assured that you're going to get a straight answer.
Every time.
Every time.
Brutal honesty.
Yeah. I mean, brutal. Absolutely. Well, he and I differ about the Zen Master. I mean, obviously he likes the Zen Master, but I guess. But I mean, it is a business. We have to pay these salaries. We have to pay the rent.
We're there to make money.
Well, that's the deal. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, we like doing it, and it's fun and all that.
It ain't Amazon.com.
But it's why they didn't run that cigarette thing. That's why Hugh didn't run that cigarette thing. I mean, it's, you know, we're trying to get the stock to 100. I mean, that's what we're trying to do. I mean, that's the case closed.
We got a shot at it.
He doesn't, how old is he? 70-something?
Yeah.
He doesn't sound 70-something, doesn't he?
Very sharp. Has lost nothing, apparently.
I really like him.
I do.
A little uncomfortable when he's complimenting the Iman.
Yeah, we
Yeah, that
does good on
Don't you hate when people suck up to Imus? I do.
Well, I don't think he was doing that, but I mean, he was. Well, no, you don't get the feeling that he's. I don't know. I mean, I really look forward to having him on.
Yeah.
I was really. Well, most of these people just put him on because they, I don't know, they have somebody on. Brooke will be on tomorrow. I like having him on. So, I mean, that's. Doris will be on Wednesday. I like having her on. So.
Will they give you 100% honest answers, like Andy?
Not 100%.
No.
No. Brokaw's pretty good.
Yeah, he's
a little politically correct.
Yeah, for the Nick attendance.
Yeah, I mean, no, there's some things about Brokaw that are not good.
Yeah,
No, that's.
No, there's some things about him that are not good.
like what?
No, that whole Nick thing.
That is terrible.
But he was honest about when I asked him about. I mean, most people who had written that book would have said, "Well, I tapped into it. I sent it," and he said, "No, it's not." So he's an honest guy. Well, he's not a phony, but he's a little,
Well, what?
Well, I mean, I think he's a little politically correct sometimes.
Got a little showbiz in him.
Let's see.
Mm-hmm. Can't all be Andy Rooney, you know.
No. Two other people who always give you honest answers, Bernie and Lou. That's it.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a great interview, boss. You look good.
Bernie, Lou, and Andy Rooney.
They are just the two.
I love that jacket. Total candor.
They are the two worst slugs on the planet.
How good is that salsa, huh?
You didn't catch those checks yet, did you?
Oh, no. Yeah, Mike's another honest guy in that.
Yeah, listen to Mike.
Yeah.
I love the Dixie Chicks.
Yeah, I'm getting to hate him. And one more interview with AP, and we'll never find here in the Imus Morning program here from CBS News. This is Andy Rooney. Good morning, Mr. Rooney.
Morning, Mr. Imus.
How are you, sir? How are you?
I don't answer that question usually.
Why don't you?
That just seems pointless. I don't know. I'm about the same as I was yesterday, which isn't bad.
But what have you done? Well, here's my first question.
Yes, what's your first question?
Why did you go on the Boomer Esiason show on MS and whatever it's on?
That's one of the best questions I ever heard you ask. I don't know why I did. It's like, why do I go on the Imus show? I just don't know. Why did I tell Bernard just now that I talked to you? I just don't know. It's sort of fun. I don't know. We all have a little ego, and it's sort of fun.
So now, what did you say about female sideline football reporters?
I said that it was ridiculous to have these women down on the sideline doing football reports, and I doubt if I should have said it, but some of them are quite good. I mean, some of them are good, but they're chosen more for their appearance and their knowledge of the game, and I have never heard anyone who adds anything to the game. I mean, it's hard to defend my opposition to it, and but I just, it's like, I was trying to think of something like hair and butter. I like, a woman's hair can be a very attractive feature, part of her, what she looks like. And I love butter as a cooking element. I use a lot of butter. And I like both hair and butter. But you get a little hair on the butter and it ruins both of them. And I feel that way about women in football.
Well, I mean...
Yeah, are there any other questions?
You don't think that they picked Brian Williams to succeed Tom Brokaw because he distinguished himself journalistically, do you?
I think Brian Williams is a very good journalist.
Yeah, but I mean, if he looked like, I don't know,
Imus.
Imus, Danny DeVito, you wouldn't be anchoring the news. So that's sort of a fact of life. So, well, here's what we wish, because I feel comfortable saying this. We love you, and we have a special affection, particularly Charles and I. We're really based on your writing more than anything else. I don't know, personally, we're not that fond of it.
I like that, yeah.
But why you don't need to get in these messes. It's just why? Why
are you behaving like my father?
Well, I don't know what I mean, because he looks like it. Until they look like it.
You know what happens? I mean, I get trouble here at CBS all the time. If somebody calls me on the phone and asks me a question, I answer it. And I should say no comment or have some clever way of getting out of it, but I almost never do. I don't know why.
And it isn't because you're 83, because you were doing this when you were 23.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So it's not like, you've fallen off the scope like say, I don't know, Mike has. So, well, I understand. I just wish you wouldn't do it.
How did it come up?
But how did it come up, by the way?
How did it come up?
Did Boomer ask you? What do you think the female sideline reporter?
Oh, he just brought it up. He asked. It was sort of fun to go. He was quite charming. I was surprised how good he was. And I don't know. I was at the end of the thing, and I said one of the things I can't stand about broadcasting the games is, I mean, there are a lot of things I could have said. I mean, you know, Madden loses interest in the game before I do, too, but I didn't say that. There are a lot of things I could have said.
So you volunteered this observation.
You brought it up.
Yeah.
Well, that makes it worse.
But you can't stand around trying not to get into trouble all day long. You know?
Well, no, I guess you can.
That's good.
All right.
Awfully nice talking to you, Don.
Thanks, Mr. Rooney. Andy Rooney from CBS News here on the I'm Mr. Wayne program. That means the conversation is over.
Yeah, sure.
That's Mr. Rooney. It's like me saying this, well, whatever. Well,
much of the criticism of the war has been, I mean, I guess it always is to some extent directed personally at the president, and maybe it's been no more so with, George Bush than it was with Lyndon Johnson or anyone else. But what's your take now on George Bush?
Well, I'd rather not answer that question. I have not been a supporter of his. I did not vote for him, and I was very critical of what he did here. And I must say that fortunately, he's president and I'm not. And it appears as though he did the right thing, and I didn't think he was doing the right thing. And if he's listening, I apologize.
How do you...
32 minutes after the hour here on the country and on MSNBC. Please welcome now from CBS News in 60 Minutes, Andy Rooney. Good morning, Mr. Rooney.
Morning, Don.
How are you?
Good.
Do you double date with Mike Wallace?
Mike's a good friend of mine.
He was on the other day, and I know it sounds like I'm sucking up to him. I'm not. I really like him. I think, and I told him I thought he was a...
Yeah, I heard that. I think he went a little overboard, but...
You did?
He's a good guy. He's fun to be with.
He got distracted by watching the television. And so then he sent me a note yesterday apologizing for that, which I just thought actually made me feel bad because he shouldn't. I thought he was charming. So I wrote him back a note and I swore at him or something. Not him, but I just told him how silly it was. It was an honor to have him on the program, just to drop it.
It was not an honor, but he liked being on, and it was.
It's not an honor for me to have him on?
No, no, it's just a business.
Well, this is not going well. How have you been, by the way?
Well, not too good. I tried to come down. I was coming down West End Avenue and going up 6th Avenue last night, and I got into that park business that you got into.
What you do about it?
The park entrance to the park. Of course, millions of your listeners don't give a damn about Central Park, but it's important to anyone's life in New York City.
It's important to you and me.
Yeah.
And that's all. I mean,
that's all that matters, right?
You may be kidding, but I'm not. So they park these huge trucks. I mean, I guess it's fine. Well, it's fine if they want to have the marathon, but it brings a lot of revenue to the city, and it's a great thing.
The city is mobbed. I've been going out to restaurants at night, and my gosh, you can't get anywhere. It's really incredible how much it influences the city, this marathon, more than the political convention, for instance.
Well, what were you doing last night? Where were you going?
I went to a good restaurant.
Hey, you know who I met last night?
Who?
Have you ever been to the Tribeca? What the hell's the name of this place?
Tribeca Grill.
Yeah, have you ever been there?
Yes, I'm going tonight.
I met the guy who owns it.
Yeah, Drew Neperon.
Oh, okay. Isn't he a lovely guy?
Oh, he's a good guy, and he's a good restaurateur. He's one of the best. He's just a first-class guy. I like that restaurant. I've been going there for years.
He owns these Nobu I don't go out to dinner, so I've never been to any of them, nor will I ever go, but he was honored last night at this cancer research dinner that Dave and I attended as humanitarian of the year. Was well-deserved. But he made the sweetest acceptance speech about his mother who died of cancer and about his 14-year-old daughter. It was just, what a charming, lovely guy.
Well, his mother she was some kind of a performer, wasn't she? I think she had a name in the business. She used to sing on radio or something.
She used to be on CBS Radio.
Yeah.
So,
and she died of cancer. But he was just so charming and sweet. And I said to my wife, I said, it's just a shame, because he said some nice things about me. And I said, it's just a shame that we don't go out to dinner, because this is a guy to know. So here I just met the guy from...
Why don't you go out to dinner?
Oh, I'm not hungry.
Well, that's got nothing to do with going out for dinner. It's a little event. You get hungry at a good restaurant.
I don't know. I don't want to go. I just don't like it. You know what it is, actually? I don't like to be around alcohol.
Yeah, I do like to be around alcohol. I resent...
You're not a drunk.
No, but I resent the bad name that alcohol has gotten. I very much enjoy 2 drinks. I never have 3, but I have 2 drinks a night, every night of my life. And it is such a pleasant little thing to do.
It's great. I encourage people to drink if they can drink. It's none of my business, not my job to encourage people to do anything. But I'm not anti-alcohol at all.
I look for those stories in the paper every few months about how good it is for you, you know.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is good for you. Wine and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they call it wine, but that's fake. It's alcohol that's good for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
They try to mitigate it by using wine instead of real liquor, but it's liquor that does it. Wine is just one of them.
But the difference between you and people like me is that 2 drinks is that's just a start, and then I spend the rest of the next 9 days trying to get that 2-drink feeling back.
Yeah.
Anyway, what did you make of the? I know I didn't talk to you about it. I don't think I did. I'm losing it. But the whole Judy Miller thing.
Well, there was something about Judy Miller that I never knew, and I feel bad about anything that's bad for the news business, because I respect people in it. I like the people in it better than I like the people in any other business. I think most of them are more honest than people in most businesses. I think they're dedicated to what they do, and I don't think money is in first place with their interests. And so when anything comes up that's bad for news anywhere or reporters in general, I feel bad about it. So I feel bad about that, and I couldn't get over how tough your friend was with her. Holy mackerel.
Well, that's my next question. Why do you have to call her my friend? I mean, she is, but this makes it sound like I'm somehow I was complicit in all this.
Yeah, no, I couldn't think of her name.
Okay, Maureen Dowd.
Yeah.
By the way, if you want to keep the beer cold, Andy, put it next to her heart. Anyway, Maureen Dowd in the New York Times dropped a safe on Judy Miller, and it would be like, and this is probably a pretty good analogy, if Andy Rooney went on 60 Minutes and attacked Mike Wallace. Wouldn't it?
It would be. It was incredible. You have to give the Times credit for running it. I mean, they knew it was going to be. Now what do they do with her? That's the interesting thing. Do they let her continue as a reporter for the Times or not? Probably not.
I doubt it. But there's some people who think Maureen denied this on this program, and I would doubt it, frankly. But there were, not that I'd know, but there were people suggesting that Keller, the editor, and some other people put Maureen up to this.
Well, I would doubt that.
Yeah,
I don't think she needs being put up to.
No.
I mean, she's beyond being able. I don't think you could put her up to much.
Doesn't she look like the kind of woman who should have been hanging around with Sinatra and that bunch?
Yeah, she probably would have fitted in.
Yeah, because she'd sit down at the end of the bar with a pell-mell hanging out of her mouth.
You know, I hung out with Sinatra.
Did you?
I did an hour broadcast about Frank Sinatra years ago, and kind of got to know him. I went to his house out in Palm Springs, and it was more fun. I mean, I had a great time with Sinatra. Brief. It was just for a couple of days, but I got to know him.
Did you meet Jilly?
Well, Jilly, when I came to New York, I saw him again, and Jilly had the restaurant on 50th Street, I guess it is. Yeah, we went in there.
Did you ever run into Rocco Maselli?
No, don't know.
Okay, well, he's a watch guy. Rocco the Thief, they call him. He's not a thief.
Yeah.
He's a Cartier dealer.
But Frank Sinatra was a strange factor in our entertainment business. I mean, he was such an interesting person, and certainly not all good.
Well, no, probably not.
But a great performer.
But back to Maureen Dowd and Judy Miller just for a second. So Maureen would have to know, obviously, what the sentiment was regarding Judith Miller in the newsroom there at the Times. And in this email that the editor, the Bill Keller, who's, by the way, an idiot and ought to be out of there, because there's nobody running that newspaper. This email that he sends to everybody and uses the word entanglement, which is a pretty loaded word regarding Judith Miller and Scooter Levy. I mean, when you read that, what did you think he meant by that?
Well, first I'd like to demur. I don't think Keller is an idiot, and I think he's probably a good editor. I don't know him.
But you didn't say he was. I did.
Yeah, I know it.
Oh, okay.
I was saying you were wrong.
Oh, okay. Well, sure.
Yeah.
Well, I accept that.
What was your question? I forget. I don't think I knew the answer. That's why I forgot the question.
My question was, what do you think, Mr. Keller, this genius over there at the time, what do you think he meant by the word entanglement regarding Judith Miller and Scooter Levy?
Well, I think he meant that they had had some previous conversations that made her an insider in that whole episode, and she was entangled. She knew a lot about it.
Yeah, I read it as a loaded word. I mean, why wouldn't he just describe Mr. Levy as a source of Miss Miller's, as opposed to some entanglement, which suggests an improper relationship to me? I mean, you know more about words than I do, and I'm not being self-effacing, but I mean, that's the way I...
Well, you are being self-effacing, and it isn't working.
It's not. Talking with Andy Rooney from 60 Minutes is just not going to get by with anything, and I'm not even trying to get by with anything, by the way. I'm not that stupid, so... Dick Cheney's approval rating is at 19%, according to some of these polls, and that's for Charles and I talking the other morning. When you get up in the morning... I mean, and you're sitting across the breakfast table, I mean, Mo Lynn there, and your approval rating is 19%. How do you rationalize that? I mean, what do you think how do you then go out and do what you're supposed to be doing?
I don't know. It must be tough. You've got to have a way of fooling yourself if you're president, I think. And I think they're probably all fooling themselves into thinking that this isn't as bad as it looks. But I don't know whether I ever told you this, but I got an idea that I keep pushing for as a way to elect better public officials. Every voter would have to take an IQ test, and when that person went to the polls, his IQ would be registered along with his vote, and the vote, when the votes were taken, the IQ of all the voters would be summed up, and the one who got not the most votes, but the highest total IQ would be elected president.
That's a very good idea.
It is a good idea. Yeah. I can't get anywhere with it. But.
Well, because the people who would have to enact that probably have fairly low IQs. Did you like John Roberts?
Well, I think it would have been very difficult for anybody to turn him down. I didn't like him. I thought he was very good. And I don't really see, I mean, except that he is an ultra-conservative, I don't see how they're going to defeat Alito. I mean, he's experienced, he seems reasonably smart, and I don't see how in the world they're going to turn him down. I mean, is there anybody that the Republicans could put up that would be approved by the Democrats? I don't think so.
Well, Roberts pretty much got a free pass. I mean, that seems like, I mean, they're describing some of them like Harry Reid and others were, well, Harry Reid has said this, but predicting Armageddon in the Senate, but I don't think this pick has the potential for that. I agree with you. So.
Yeah.
The other day, Colonel Jack Jacobs was in here, and I was talking, and Senator McCain was here, and they brought to my attention this. I'm sure it'll interest you.
He's too good to believe, isn't he, McCain? God, every time he says anything, he's right.
I always wait. Well, I used to wait years ago for the other shoe to drop, but there's no...
I know what.
It's like Harold Ford Jr., who I like a lot, from Tennessee. Do you know him?
I know the name.
He's very impressive. And I met his dad, and I was just kidding, Harold Ford Sr., and I described him as Reverend Ike without the jewelry. But I just, it's just a kind of a visual joke. But he's a very impressive guy running for the Senate in Tennessee. And Casey and Charles and I will talk during the commercials. And We have said over the past number of years, we just don't want the other shoe to drop on Harold Jr. because
so far so good.
He's even more. He's African American. And he is enormously impressive. He's just impressive. Period. He's impressive as a human being, but got a wonderful sense of humor and
smart.
I object every time I hear the words African American. You know, I don't know why we have gotten caught with that.
Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, I'm an Irish American.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
What should I say? Just black, right?
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with black.
I don't either.
Growing up, it's funny how words get to be opprobrious. The word Negro is a perfectly good word. It's a strong word and a good word. I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't. Mostly, it's not necessary to identify anyone by skin color. But I don't care for African American.
Well, I won't use it anymore.
Speaking as an Anglo-American, neither will I.
13 to the hour, talking with Andy Rooney here on the Imus for the morning program. Anyway, so I'll tell you about Colonel Jacobson and John McCain here. And apparently this Gulf of Tonkin incident, did you read that story?
No.
Well, it's a Charles, what was it?
Front page of the Times a couple of days ago that because of a misreading, apparently, of a cable back in the Gulf of Tonkin during that period, that there was some sort of almost fantasy second attack that occurred in the Gulf of Tonkin that involved a couple of U.S. warships, like destroyers.
Yeah, I did see that.
But it never occurred, and it was just some weird miscommunication. And was it purposely misinterpreted in order to justify, what happened after the Gulf of Tonkin or not? Just a strange story.
I did see that.
Yeah.
I just think it's hard for most of us to believe that our government or anybody in it is deliberately deceiving us, but it's obviously true that they do sometimes. And I think probably, mostly they think they're doing the right thing for us. It's not for their own well-being that they do it.
Well, I think this was a situation where they made a mistake and didn't want to own up to the mistake and so covered it up.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that going on.
And then as Jeff Greenfield, I believe it was Jeff Greenfield I talked to yesterday, said, meanwhile, 58,000 people are dead, and who knows how many Vietnamese and other people. So it's weird. Finally, Sean McManus is going to be the new head of CBS News. Is that good?
Well, I think it is. I think everybody I know here was pleased. We expected the worst, and we got the best. Sean McManus, I hate to talk this nicely about my new boss, but he seems like a really first-class guy and a bright guy, and I hope he has enough strength to pull the CBS News out of the depths to which it is sunk.
Well, this is the situation, in case y'all haven't been following this, where Mr. McManus is the head of CBS Sports, and then now made him the head of CBS News, and he will remain the head of CBS Sports, I believe. But there's precedence for that in that a number of years ago, Roone Arledge was the head of ABC Sports, as most folks know, and he became a head of ABC News and did a pretty good job doing that. So
I really object to the fact that news has to be a profit maker. There ought to be, I don't know whether you need a government law or what, but an informed electorate is so important to our democracy that getting the news to all the news, good news, to the most people is so important that I think the three networks ought to be obliged to provide news without it being dependent, without their having to make any money on it. I mean, they shouldn't be allowed to make any money on it. They should be forced to spend a certain amount of their profit every year on the news and provide the American public with good news with no thought about how much they were making or losing.
Well, you're right, of course, but funny.
Why? I don't think it's out of the question that would be put into effect. I don't see why not. They have to get a license to broadcast. They get a license to make these millions of dollars they make. Why couldn't we include a little passage in there that made it imperative for them to provide news?
Oh, well, you should be able to. Unbiased news, too.
Yes, but I mean without any out any talk about how much they were making or losing?
You know, I made this observation of Wallace, and Mr. Wallace, and I'll make it to you. It doesn't seem to me like either one of you miss old Hewitt all that much, and it sounds like you're more than happy that Hayward's out of there.
Well, everybody liked Andrew Hayward, and not everybody liked Don Hewitt, but no one thought he wasn't. Everybody thought he was pretty good. Fortunately, I think we were all surprised. We would have been pleased if we got a replacement who wasn't any good. But Jeff Fager is absolutely first class as a replacement for Don. He is a lot different from Don, but very bright, very good, and very ethical too. I don't think they're going to push Jeff Fager around.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. Poor old Don.
Well, no, poor old Don.
Oh, that's okay. It's fine with me. It's always fun to have you on the program.
Yeah, it wasn't much fun this morning. I'm sorry.
What?
It wasn't much fun this morning.
You're fine. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I was going to say it's an honor, but you get all...
No, don't do it.
Oh, fine, okay.
No.
Have a nice Thanksgiving.
I enjoy your show.
I like yours, too.
No.
I hate till they are.
1, 2, 3. Imus in the morning.
ONN chief meteorologist Eric L.
Any security with him. It's just...
Oh, my God.
He just said, what?
Nothing. Actually, it's an unrelated thing. I didn't realize my microphone was on. Andy Rooney, apparently, he made headlines already. Yeah. He made the Drudge headline already with his rant about he doesn't like the term African American. The word Negro is a perfectly good word. There is nothing wrong with that. Andy Rooney on Imus, 11:405 MSNBC, 8:45 a.m. Eastern Time. Lead headline. Documented.
Well,
why do we use that term anyway?
Here, take that rope, Andy. Why don't you just hang yourself?
Oh, I know what he was saying.
No, he wasn't. Well, why? Well, what was wrong with that?
Well, the word Negro is offensive to African Americans.
It's not a pejorative in any way.
It's not a pejorative at all, is it?
No.
I don't use it, but
the N-word is, but that is not the N-word.
You don't use the word Negro anymore. You don't talk about the Negroes in America.
In our culture
except
today,
the United Negro College Fund.
Yeah,
that's right.
There you go.
Yeah, but the press, it's okay.
And colored people, but those words are from a different time.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying they seized on it, and Andy's going to have to explain. That's all.
My God.
He's going to have to issue an apology if I offended anybody. So good work, I mean.
No, I didn't do anything.
You got Andy Rooney in trouble. What are you talking about?
I used the term African American, and he told me he didn't like that. And, just making black seems fine to me, or how about people?
His point was that we don't have to identify ourselves by color.
And he's right.
Just American will do. That was his point.
Then why would he say that he liked the word Negro?
He just said it was a perfectly good word. The implication that it was in and of itself, not in a pejorative sense.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he's going to have to explain that. That's all I'm saying.
So who's he going to have to explain it to?
Well, it's already on Drudge. That's what Bernie's point is.
He'll be getting calls. CBS will be getting calls. Andy, what were you talking about, Mr. Rooney?
Associated Press will be calling. Mr. Rooney was not immediately available to respond to inquiries regarding the...
that plus Andy Rooney tonight on 60 Minutes.
They're having a fist fight with Ed Bradley at BlackRock tomorrow.
Look at these statements I've gathered here.
Okay, I'll answer your questions. But don't send a colored guy over here to ask them.
We'll talk to Fred Anderson. See what he's up to.
Your kind words. I don't know what's up with Andy Rooney. Maybe Andy Rooney. I find it interesting that he said on the radio this morning what he said, and nobody has made a big peep about it. I've been waiting on purpose not to mention this. I will bet you that if I repeat what he says, that will make news. The fact that he said it first will not. Do you know what he said? He said what? What Andy Rooney said was that he doesn't like the term African American. That he thinks the word Negro is perfectly fine, but he's not a big fan of the term African American. Said on the radio today, there hasn't been a peep about it, and we'll just see how long it takes. for there to be some sort of outrage. I don't think there's going to be any. And I'm wondering. See you Monday, folks. Adios.
How do you feel about CBS Now today, as you did? Well, you left for a while.
Well, I left. You know, it's interesting about. I don't know, I said this, I guess, but I'm very loyal to CBS because I have been here so long. But loyalty is a thing all unto itself. It's good to have, even though what you're loyal to doesn't deserve it. And I am loyal to CBS, even though it is no longer what I started out being loyal to. I like news a lot. I just am one of those people who believe that if everybody knew all the truth about everything, it would be a better world. And that's what news ought to try to do, but it no longer is doing that. Television news is now just another commodity, and it's a shame, but I am still loyal to CBS, and I like to see it prosper.
Good luck with this book. I mean, you don't need that, but...
Well, I guess I do need it.
Yeah. It's a fascinating collection of letters. I didn't read every single one of them, but I read most of them.
Can I say something nice about you, too? Does that be all right?
No.
You know what I like best about your show is the way you use the network correspondence. You get more out of those people than the networks get out of them themselves. I think to myself, I should think they'd object to Imus getting so much stuff out of them that they don't use themselves. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Happy holidays and all that stuff.
Merry Christmas. I'm not Jewish.
God bless you, Andy.
Finally,
I don't feel this is going too well, do you?
I thought it was going great. Why?
I don't know.
Well, no, you have to be careful what you ask you. Believe me, I'm very careful, so I don't fool around.
You're very good, isn't it? You always claim you aren't a journalist, but I must say, I hate to flatter you, but you're very good with these people. You get so much more out of correspondence than their networks do that they ought to sue you.
Well, thank you, first of all, but I do think that, say, someone like Tim Russert or they can't ask the kinds of things I can ask because it just wouldn't be appropriate. So, anyway.